Let's see if we are live and direct. Checking out the sounds. It looks like I'm still on. Looks like I'm still sitting on loading screen. So I'm going to go ahead and start boosting the social medias now and hope that the internet catches up with me sooner than later. I'll probably hit the refresh button here in a moment and see that I'm already live and yammering to a universe of friends. So let's do that. Hey, yeah, I am live. Nice. Okay, so volume sounds good, and I am currently doing the social media boosts. So if you are catching me in the future, you can skip forward like a minute, and I'll be past all my intro stuff, and we'll get into the meat of today. But if you're new to the stream or caught here in time space in the here now with me, hey, my name is Theurgy. I create role-playing games. I illustrate them and I publish them online. And we are currently developing martial powers, which was a concept from 3rd and 4th edition to give martial characters the same breadth of options and resources that spellcasters have, so that we don't have the martial caster divide, which is casters have 500 spells and about 30 spells they can cast per day versus a martial who gets a feat and can swing their sword 1 or 2 times per round if you want, maybe even move. So it's certainly not balanced. 3rd edition, the Book of Nine Swords, was amazing. It revolutionized 3E for martial enthusiasts. 4th edition, it was all the same. Whether it was a spell or power or whatever, it's basically going to be like 1 attack equals 2 times weapon damage plus relevant stat. And that weapon would either be like your orb dealing force damage at range, or like a crossbow bolt or a sword. It didn't matter. So there was too little variety in 4E. It just felt same, especially because they pushed it to 30 levels. After about 5 levels, it all just kind of felt the same. So that wasn't the right solution. So in 5E, we've developed the 5-color mana spell point variant rules, which allows us to have far more flexible spell casting with a spell point system that is far more intuitive. You can see links to all that stuff in the description down below. The martial power system uses the same mana resource system with not spell casting alternate powers that range from level 1 to 4 on a half casting progression, that your character can accumulate a specific set of a kit of spells and way to use their mana for their actions, bonus actions, movements, reactions, and item object interactions. So you can build your own action economy combat loop, and then have utility means to help your team in both social and exploration. And you can switch it all out so that you can change your character dynamically like a spellcaster can, to be able to change and adapt to what the party needs during the day or across the campaign. So having all the to-dos done, let's click over here. I'm on the X Twitter platform. If you are too, you can follow me at Theurgy, where you got coupons, illustrations, early looks, and works in progress for different projects that I'm working on. Here in the YouTubes, like, subscribe, hit the bell. Hey, we got new subscribers. Great. Thanks, guys. Like, subscribe, bell icon to get notifications of when I am live in the future, which is 10 times per week, 5 times in the mornings, then in the afternoons like now, and in the evenings like on Mondays and Thursdays, and then Saturday morning for a brunch stream. So the full playlist of all 158 episodes of Developing Martial Powers is here. If you click on this playtest content button, it'll take you to my Patreon. You do not have to be a member of my Patreon to access this, but God bless you if you want to support me. Click here for the playlist. Hey, guys. Otherwise, if you click the Martial Powers button here, it'll pop open a Google Doc. It is read-only for you, but you can read the entire 100 some odd pages of it, of all the content that we produce, as well as the color land hex crawl system that we developed for playtesting these mechanics, which has been a lot of fun. But you can see here, and then here is the actual document that we work inside of. We're going to be using D&D Beyond for our class breakdowns, and I've got my timer going, so I have about an hour to play today. What time is it? It's 1:52. Yeah, I've got a little bit. I think I have about an hour. So let's see. When we were here last time, let's pull this. Here's our intro bits. Here's the general progression table using the half casting progression. Again, the power die is like an inspiration die, superiority die, martial arts die. And that if you deal damage, like the amount of like your max rank or spell level, effectively, 1 at first, 2 at 5th, 3 at 9, 4 at 13, 5 at 17. Your max rank of power or max spell level you can cast, same thing, is the amount of mana that you can spend at once. You spend 1 point per level or rank of power level spell, like a 3rd level spell, like a fireball costs 3 mana. A 3rd rank power costs 3 mana. If it's a damaging spell, then typically you're going to roll a number of power dice equal to the mana that you spend and add those results to the weapon attack that you're already dealing. If it's something like an ability boost, an attack roll boost, a saving throw boost, some sort of D20 test, you're generally going to roll multiple dice, multiple power dice, but keep the best result and discard the rest. And a lot of these have caveats, like if you spend 3 mana to modify your dexterity saving throw against a damaging spell, for instance, and your 9th level, you'd roll your saving throw like normal, and then you'd roll 3 8-sided dice. Take the top result and add it to what you had. If that means that you make your saving throw, congratulations, you saved. But if you fail the die roll, not only are you going to take the consequences of the failure, but the benefit is you get your mana back. So you can risk spending a lot of mana to help make sure you get a high die roll, but it's going to cost you the mana. Otherwise, if you fail the die roll, despite how much mana you throw into it, if that D20 test failed, generally you're going to get your mana back. So there's a fun little risk reward, like how many dice do I need to throw to hit the numbers that I need? If I fail, I get it back, but obviously I failed, so now I'm going to take the consequences of that. If I succeed, maybe I burned more dice than I needed to. So you're going to be playing that little game of figuring out how much mana do I really want to throw into this thing. So as long as you don't know the result, you can throw mana. So once you know if you're successful or not, you normally can't continue rolling at that point, although there are exceptions. Then we have the full power system. If you checked out yesterday's episode, we went deeper into the empowered action system, where you give up action economy to generate mana during your turn, like movement. If you give up movement, you get a point of mana. If you give up an attack, each attack that you give up during the attack action is worth a point of mana. And then bonus actions, as you gain levels, as your max rank increases, at level 1, you get 1 point, level 9, when you get access to 3rd rank powers, you'd get 2 mana, and then at 17th level, when you get access to 5th rank powers, you generate 3 mana. This mana only lasts till the end of your turn. You can spend it on whatever you want, whenever you want. If I'm making an attack and I haven't moved yet, and I haven't used my bonus action, and say I'm 13th level, and I can channel up to 4 ranks of power, I have 2 attacks, like as a barbarian. I could make an attack, I hit, I then sacrifice my attack, I then sacrifice my bonus action to gain 2 more points, and then I sacrifice my movement. That's a total of 4 points. 1 attack, my movement, and 2 points for my bonus action. That's 4 points that I get that at 13th level I can channel into a 4th rank power, or like a 4th level spell, effectively, and channel that through my strike. Paladins are interesting because they can channel mana when they make the attack, and they can stack bonus action damage on top of it. So you can actually overclock the amount of mana you can spend when you perform a smite as a paladin. But of course, we only get 1 bonus action per round, so you could spend, say, 3 points of mana every time you hit, like normal, but on one of those, you could double down and do like 3 points of normal mana and use your bonus action to gain an extra 2 points of mana. So you end up throwing like 5 mana, but it only costs you 3 in a bonus action. So in that sense, a paladin can heavily overclock what other classes can do as far as damage capacity is concerned. Yeah, so there you go. So that's some of those ideas. Every class has additional ways of cheating mana into their supply. We spent some time yesterday doing a numerical comparison between the different means of generating mana that all the classes had. A barbarian can spend hit dice to basically heal themselves of spent mana. 1 per stat, maybe 2. What is this referring to? Resilient save. When you make a saving throw to reduce damage, if the save succeeds, you take no damage, or half if you fail. You decide to channel this power after you roll the save, but before you know the result. 1 per stat, maybe 2. Oh yeah, I was looking at potentially breaking that up because it's such a general die roll. When you make a saving throw to reduce damage, as opposed to roll with the hit, which is second. Oh god, that's a reaction, isn't it? Let's go take a look at roll with the hit. There it is. Roll with the hit as a reaction to taking damage from an attack. Not a saving throw, but from an attack. You reduce the damage by half, and that's a reaction. As opposed to the save up here, it's an exploit, so you're already making a saving throw. This thus modifies a saving throw because it doesn't require any action. Okay, that's cool. But we're going to get down into the rogue and look at the rogue features. Let's see how evasion is written these days. I don't think it requires a reaction, right? You can nimbly dodge when you're subject to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw. Take only half damage. You instead take no damage if you succeed on a saving throw, and half if you fail. You can't use this feature if you have the incapacitated condition. Right, see, this doesn't require any action economy to use. It does require a die roll. It does require a saving throw, though. So that's cool. As opposed to uncanny dodge, which does require an action to reaction to use, but you've already been hit. There is no debate about that you're taking damage, so it's not a variable. So the uncanny dodge as a reaction, that then gives you the reduced damage. Okay, that makes sense. I'm happy with that. Let's see. So let's keep tooling down here. Yeah, barbarians can spend hit dice to recover mana instead of hit points. Fighters can spend their second wind to recover mana instead of hit points. Monks gain mana when they roll initiative. And the rogue can sacrifice sneak attack dice to gain free mana. We're going to use the Eldritch Knight as our base frame. There we go. Because the rogue is the next task for us to work on. So let's get down into it. Warrior of the open hand. Cunning power. Arcane trickster. Damn it. Let's go. I messed up my cut paste. Let's go find it. Fighter. Champion. There it is. Eldritch Knight. Bonus actions. And then features. There. Now we can scroll down here to the rogue. There we go. Choice lessons below. Okay, so as you may be noticing, all of the subclasses gain a list of bonus powers, just like spellcasting subclasses grant additional spells. So we're, again, keeping in curve with what utility and options spellcasters have for our martial characters. If you want a simple character, simple without a lot of bells and whistles to worry about, you shouldn't be playing 5.5. However, since you are playing D&D 5e, you could choose instead to simply, instead of learning powers that require mana resources, you could just pick up a bunch of extra feats. So there's a list of 40 feats that you can choose from starting at level 1. They don't require any prerequisites, but they don't grant you any ability score boosts either. But if you don't want to mess around with mana, you can just stack out a total of 20. You'll end up with 23 powers in the end. At the end of the progression, it's 20. Where'd it go? Yeah, there you go. We'll end up with 23. We start with 4. And we'll end with 23. And there's 40 feats to choose from. So if all you ever want are feats, here's 40 feats to choose from. There's also damage types that you can learn, so that instead of channeling mana to cause effects, or if you don't want to pick up feats for some reason, there's combat masteries, which are weapon masteries, but when you prepare them, you can use them with any weapon that you want. And then there's 10 types of damage that you learn. 5 at first, and then the other 5 come online at 5th level. Acid, cold, fire, lightning, poison is basic damage, and then advanced damage types are force, necrotic, psychic, radiant, and thunder. So if I hit you with my dagger and I want to deal necrotic damage, I can just prepare the ability to deal necrotic damage. So now I can choose piercing damage or necrotic damage when I hit you with my dagger, for example. So there's plenty of stuff for us to spend our prepared powers on that aren't mana powers at all. If your DM wants to restrict a type of power, one of the disciplines, or like disallow combat masteries, for example, that's fine, because there's like 115 mana powers, and then 40 feats, 10 types of damage, and 13 masteries. So there's a ton of different stuff that your character can do without ever having to touch mana. But mana is super fucking cool, and your character can generate it for free to ramp up what they can do alongside the spellcasters. So that's a quick glance. We're going to be tooling through both the rogue abilities and subclasses today. So let's see, that's the monk. Let's kick down from the monk to building monk last night was a lot of fun. Okay, rogue, channeling class features now new, expertise is in, sneak attack is there, thieves can't, and then power over precision is another one of the abilities that we created. So let's see. Oh yeah, and then there's cunning power as well. Power over precision. Starting at 1st level, you can reduce the amount of dice you roll when dealing sneak attack damage to temporarily gain additional mana. You can add 1 point of mana to your pool for every sneak attack damage die you sacrifice this way. This can increase your mana pool above the maximum total. When you finish a short or long rest, any mana gained from this feature is lost, and you regain all sneak attack damage dice sacrificed this way. So every time you finish a short rest, you can get all of your sneak attack dice, but your mana goes back to normal because it is a short rest. So you get all your mana back, and then you refresh your sneak attack dice, which you could cash in right away to gain another stack of mana. At any time, you can buy back your sneak attack dice by spending an equal number of mana that you would have. If you don't have any mana, then you've already spent all your sneak attack dice, and you don't get them back until you take a short rest or a long rest. There you go. As you gain levels, you can deal additional damage. At 5th level, you sacrifice 2 sneak attack dice to gain 1 temporary point of mana to channel a strike with, which happens to be a d6. So essentially at 5th level, you have 3 sneak attack dice. You give up 2 of them to gain 1 point of temporary mana to channel a strike with. And at this level, that's a d6. So basically, effectively, you sacrifice 1 sneak attack die to be able to channel a strike effect with two sneak attack dice of damage. At 11th level, you give up 4 dice. At 11th level, you have, 3, 4, 5. You have 6 sneak attack dice at 11th level, and if you sacrifice 4 of them, you get 2 temporary mana. So this would end up having you get that'd be 2 left. You'd end up having 4 sneak attack dice and a 2nd rank strike for free. And at 17th level, when you'd have 9 dice, you can give up 6 of them to get 3 points of mana back. So that would effectively be you have a total of 9. You give up 6, you get 3 back. You effectively have 6 sneak attack dice. You basically sacrifice 3 of them to be able to trigger up to a 3rd rank power. And of course, you can add mana to your pool. Like at 17th level, you can have up to 5 mana, but you only get 3 for free. So then you can spend 2 points out of your mana pool, or you could use your bonus action, sacrifice your bonus action to get free mana. So by sacrificing hit dice and sacrificing mana when you make a sneak attack, you can effectively channel a 5th rank power for free. So, but that's that statistically, that doesn't deal any more damage than what the new Cunning Strikes do at comparable levels. We broke down the math for that maybe like 3 episodes ago, so you can check that out. But the math works out. So it in some instances it gives rogues like an extra 5 or 6 points of damage on average, but it's certainly not significant. So we're not supposed to be making any noise right now, but apparently we're making noise. We're going to ignore the phone. I hit the mute button, so I wouldn't have to deal with that. Let's see. That should go away soon enough. Let's see. All right, so that's Cunning Power as opposed to Cunning Strikes. And then Powerful Sneak Attacks. Oh, yeah, and then at level 9, if you want to prepare a unique, you can use one of your prepared slots to increase your sneak attack damage to D8s instead of D6s. And at 17th level, you can use another prepared power to increase it from D8 to D10. So this would mean that at 19th level, you'd have 10d10 damage that you're dealing on a sneak attack, which is a lot, but it's not really outpacing what anyone else can do, and actually puts rogues on fairly even feet and makes it easier for you to sacrifice those hit dice to channel powers, because now you'd be using all of D10s. So it actually curves out. So that's cool. And then we have the Arcane Trickster here that we're building out currently. So let's keep moving forward with this. At 3rd level, choose 2 cantrips from the wizard spell list to learn. And at 3rd level, choose 2 level 1 spells from the lizard list to prepare. At 7th level, you get access to level 2 spells. At 13th, you get access to 3rd level spells. And at 19th level, you get access to 4th level spells. You can change your cantrips and prepared spells when you gain a level. You can swap all of your spells and cantrips whenever you gain a level. Powers that you can learn, you can swap those on whenever you finish a long rest. And the number of powers you can change on a long rest equals the max rank of power that you've gained. So a 7th level rogue has access to 2nd rank powers. So you would have a total of... this chart is wrong. I need to go up here and fix it. Let me fix this real quick. Copy. Come on, Turkey. Let's do it. There. So at 7th level, you'd have 10 powers. What was the point I was making? Oh, yeah. So it's the number of powers that you can swap when you finish a long rest equals to the max rank of power that you've gained. So at 7th level, you can swap 2 powers. You have 10 total, and you can swap 2 of them. So every time you finish a long rest, you can swap 2 of them. Every time you gain a level, an Arcane Trickster can swap all 10 of the spells that they know. And every subclass gets a stack of 10 bonus powers, like Warrior with Open Hand. Here's the stack of powers that the Warrior open Hand would get. Those don't change. So one of the big perks for the Eldritch Knight and the Arcane Trickster is that, yeah, you get this stack of spells, and whenever you gain a level, you can completely switch out what those spells are, and they continue to ascend with your spell level. So at 7th level, you can pick up a bunch of second level spells if you wanted to. So... Baldo, hey, what's up, man? Oh my God, what's my favorite guild? In Ravnica, I think. Oh God, that's a tough one because there's so many good ones. I think the one that I like traditionally, honestly, I like Rakdos a lot. I like playing Rakdos as a good character, quote unquote good character, like a Robin Hood that tracks down corrupt people with power and then drags them to the circus and tortures them to death for their sins. Like it's a real Dark Knight sort of approach to it, but that's a really fun way to be able to depict like the ends justify the means and being a good person. That's totally the behavior that Rakdos would push. But I'm also a really big fan of Dimir because of the mind, because of the mind magic and messing around with reality. That's a lot of fun. God, they all have their strengths, man. They all have strengths.
That definitely has the best. Damn straight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Dimir. One of the fun things about Dimir is that they can conceal what they are. They're using blue and black magic, but they can look like they're using, like they can when they take on a persona of another guild, they can use that guild's spells and look like they're using the proper magic, but it's all a deception. It's all an illusion. So if you have a reason to see through it, you can and recognize that as a Dimir character. But otherwise, it could play a Boros role and have access to the Boros list of background spells to be able to cheat their way through and be able to pull that stuff off. Dimir's got a lot of fun stuff to it. Definitely. I'm going to be doing a lot of design work today, so if I'm only partially attentive, I'll get to your questions eventually. So my apologies for the way that the stream works is that I'm basically mashing through tech design here and just basically demonstrating what that process is and basically just geeking out and sharing the ideas that we're working on. So let's see. We swapped out all the cunning strike stuff for the ranks of power that the strike powers that characters have. They basically spend mana like a 2014 paladin would, and of course with the change to the paladin, we can now use a bonus action to ramp the damage that the paladin deals. But there's a total of 26 different strikes that deal different types of damage and effects with the amount of dice that you roll. Yeah, fun stuff. Let's see. That's what I need to do. We're in the. I believe everything that we have for the rogue is sussing out now. We have the cunning power that replaced the cunning strike effects, and we have them coming in at level 5, level 11, and level 17, basically 6 levels apart apiece. The way that the way that the player's handbook handles it is 5, 11, and then 14. That's a really weird progression, so we changed it so it was smooth progression. 5, 11, 17 is 6 levels apart each. That leaves 14th level as a dead level, so we gave them an extra ability score increase at level 14. So now the rogue has ASI at level 4, 8, 10, 12, 14, and 16. That happens to perfectly coincide with the fighter's progression as written in the player's handbook, which we uploaded here. Instead, they get an extra 16, but they also get 4, 8, 12, 14, 16, 4, 8, 12, 14, 16, 4, 8, 12, 14, 16, 4, 8, 12, 14, 16. Give me a second. I'm making a point. 4, 8, 12. Okay, so the fighter gets an ability at 10th level. I think it's Indomitable, but gets a feat at 6. The rogue gets expertise at 6 and now gets a ASI at 14 instead. So they both get 6 ASI over 20 levels. The rogue gets one at 10 and 14 with this system, as opposed to the fighter gets one at 10th. As opposed to, at 6, as opposed to the rogue doesn't. So it's still the same. I'm wording bad right now. Don't mind me, bad wording. Let's see. New class features. We already went through this. Channeling works. The mana, the number of powers that you have. Power of precision. You sacrifice your sneak attack dice to gain mana, and then you get it back on a short rest. And then cunning power is if you have any hit dice, if you have any sneak attack dice currently, you can sacrifice some of them to gain free mana to use with a strike power. So it's a different way of getting the cunning strike, but still using the mana system as a whole, as a unified mechanic to use these new options that characters have. And then again, the prepared. If you don't care about combat damage, like you could have a rogue character that As soon as they finish a short rest, they cash out all of their sneak attack dice so they get more mana. So they can do more things with exploits and social interaction stuff to ramp up the effects that they can do. Or if you have a combat-oriented rogue, and you can switch back and forth on a daily basis, but if you have a more combat-oriented rogue, you could use 2 powers to ramp your sneak attack dice to D10, D8, and eventually D10s. You actually are going to need that to have the rogue keep pace with the new shit that the barbarian and the monk and the fighter can do. Like they're kicking around 80 to 110 damage per round now. So us being able to scale up sneak attack dice like this actually allows the rogue to keep pace with the rest of the martial team. So it's super useful. We went through the bonus list here. We have spell casting. We have our rank of progression for casting levels. We have the total number of spells. So anytime you gain a level, you can swap out all the spells that you know, and you gain more spells here. This might be redundant language here. I'll hire an editor to help make sure words word good. The spellcasting ability score you can use will be the same as your channeling ability score. The 3 scores, the 3 ability scores that a rogue could use to channel power and cast spells are either going to be dexterity, intelligence, or charisma. It just depends on what kind of a rogue you want to play, and if you want a multi-class, what other class you want to bend into, so that you can unify your ability scores so you don't have to worry about too much multi-ability dependence. Although, since we now have a stack of 40 powers that you can prepare, instead of taking up with your ASI, you can use all of your ASI to gain stats and just simply prepare the feats that you want to know. You don't get the ability score increases with these, but they don't have any prerequisites either. So it's really easy to access them and build out the kit of options that you want for your character. So let's look at what features the rogue actually gets for Arcane Trickster, because I'm already happy. We've already gone through the abilities that we have for Elusive and Slippery Mind and all the blah-de-blah. When you fail a D20 test, you can turn that roll into a D20. Or into a 20. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. That's pretty good. Subclasses. Okay, spellcasting, cantrips, blah, spell slots, yeah. 10th level, you learn another wizard cantrip, blah, blah, blah. You can learn as many cantrips as you want. You can swap them out whenever you please. We don't have to worry about the prepared list table. We already have that resolved. Prepared blah, changing your spells. Ability, spell focus. You can use an arcane focus as a spell focus. Huh. Oh, yeah, we do have it here. For your arcane trickster spells, you can use any object you have. You can use an arcane focus as a spellcasting focus. For your arcane trickster spells, period. Okay, Mage Hand, Ledger Domain. Some of this is going to be kind of cutty pasty. Mage Hand, Ledger Domain. When you cast Mage Hand, you can cast it as a bonus action, and you can make the Spectral Hand invisible. You can control the hand as a bonus action. And through it, you can make dexterity sleight of hand checks. There's nothing I need to change here, but I do want to make sure I have it listed. So we're just gonna pick that up. You learn the Mage Hand cantrip, and you can cast it as a bonus action. You can make this Spectral Hand invisible. You can control the hand as a bonus action, and through it, good enough. Let's grab another thing. Level 3, level 3. What else we got going? I am really frustrated that the D&D Beyond does not spell out which of these abilities you gain at what level. See all this shit? Mage Hand, Ledger Domain doesn't list what spell level, what level you get it. Magical Ambush. Do I also get this? Do I get all this shit at 3rd level, or do I get it paced out over a number of levels? It's just not here, which is I think a big flaw. So what levels do these things come in at? 3, 9, 13, 3, 9, 13, 17. Level 17, level 13, level 9, and that's 17, 13, 9, 3, and 3. Okay. Magical Ambush. That's where we're at. Magical Ambush. Versatile Trickster. Right. 6 Magical Ambush. 9. 13. No. Why is my brain breaking? There it is. Get rid of that. That's how this does. Magical Ambush, Mage Hand, Ledger Domain. Okay, so 6, 3, 9, 13, 17. Why is that so difficult? Level 9. It's such a weird gap.
What's up, man? Hey, Nicola.
Magical Ambush. How does that go? If you have the invisible condition, when you cast a spell on a creature, it has disadvantage on saving throws it makes against the spells on the same turn. If you have the invisible condition, when you cast a spell on a creature, it has disadvantage on the saving throw it makes against the spell on the same turn. On the same turn, they're trying to say that you're casting the spell. So if there's upkeep saves, you don't have disadvantage on those just when you're being first affected. I wonder if I can word that differently. I'm not assuming better, but differently. Let's see how that would do. When I'm back tomorrow morning for my brunch work stream, I'll be working on the Warlock. We have Spell Point Warlocks and Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica to update. And for anyone that's not familiar with those on the DMsGuild, thank you, Timer Timer. Let me point those out to you because I'm really fucking proud of them. Pacts and Patrons of Ravnica here on the DMsGuild. This is a book of 10 otherworldly patrons for each guild, and when your warlock forms a pact with that otherworldly patron, you become a guild mage, and you now have a pact bond with your guild, and you receive messages and missions and information from the guild to progress their goals, and each one has their own subclass. So this book is super fucking fun, and we're gonna start rebuilding it tomorrow. And there's also the Spell Point Warlocks book. Here, let me show that off to you here. Spell Point Warlocks just went gold, so I am thrilled about that. Thank you, folks. And this is a Spell Point progression. Let's go down to the color mana system. 1 for 1 points, 1 to 10. Pact Magic is level 1 to 5, 1 point each. 3rd level spells, 3 points. 1st level spell is 1 point. You don't have to worry about 2 slots, and then you're forced to cast them at maximum level. You can parse out your mana. And then at 11th level, once you start getting access to Mystic Arcanum, level 6, 7, 8, 9, and we also have a 10th level spell slot that you can upcast anything with. And you have the number of Mystic Arcanum 6th level, 7th level, 8th level, 9th level. And then Wish becomes an option at 19th level as a 10th level spell. But the Mystic Arcanum mana is Long Rest, and Pact mana is Short Rest. So every time you take a short rest, you'll get one point per Warlock level back. And then once you're a high enough level for Mystic Arcanum, you have Long Rest, but you don't have to spend high-level spells on these if you don't want to. Like say at 12th level, you've got 9 mana. You can only cast one 6th level spell, so you could spend 6 mana on that 6th level spell, and then you'd have 3 mana left over that you would get back on a Long Rest. But you could use that to cast like 3 first level spells, a 1st and 2nd level spell, or a 3rd level spell. So you can use the Mystic Arcana mana for any spells that you know from level 1 to 10, and but the Pact Magic can only be used in spells up to level 5. Yeah, there you go. So it's a lot more versatile. It allows you to scale and upcast or downcast if that's an option if you want to. Yeah, you can check this out. It utilizes the color magic system as well. It talks about high magic and using Wish as a feature. Wish basically becomes a conversation between you and your patron to change the reality as the patron would please with you. And color mana backgrounds for what kind of color you have devoted to. And if you wanted to check out the core mechanics book, that will show you spellcasting progression in general for all the spellcasters, as well as the initial breakdown of spells per color. So if you want to throw a fireball, you need to have at least 1 point of red mana, and then 2 more points of whatever you want. When you run out of red mana, you can't throw red spells anymore, but you can swap colors in your mana pool whenever you finish a short or long rest. So those are all free previews. Anyone that's interested in checking those out is most invited to do so. I make my books free to read because I don't want you to buy. I want you to buy my books, not because I want you to have access to this book, but if you like this book, you buy my book to encourage me to make more. So the more books you buy, the more you encourage me to make more of those books. And obviously, Spell Point Warlocks is my first gold medal, so that tells me that folks like Warlock shit. I should do more Warlock shit. So that's why we're going to work on Pacts and Patrons and Spell Point Warlocks first for 2024, because that is by far the most popular book I've built. So
Hey, what's going on? Thanks. I just realized it's oh my god, get out of here, dude. 6 hours of Diablo. Dude, come. Yeah, get out of here, man. Go get some sleep. I'm here all the time, so be welcome to swing by anytime you please. You learn the Mage Hand cantrip. Great. If you have the invisible condition when you cast a spell, let's. I'm just gonna reword this because we're supposed to reword stuff. When you cast a spell on a creature while you are invisible, comma, it has disadvantage on any saving throw it makes against that spell. When you cast a spell on a creature while you are invisible, it has disadvantage on these. How do I want to word that? I don't like the way they have this worded. I actually want to monkey with it. When you cast a spell on a creature while you are invisible, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm gonna upgrade this because we have channeling powers as well as spellcasting. So we're gonna do. So a lot of channeled powers, including weapon masteries, have saving throws. We can do better with this. So let's make it more universal. While you are invisible, if you force a creature to make a saving throw, they roll with disadvantage.
if an effect has additional saving throws to end the effect during later rounds, it is not. This feature doesn't continue to impart disadvantage. A little bit wordy. Let's see if I can make it. If I can make that more efficient. While you're, I can use contractions. People don't. When you're typing, people generally don't think in contractions because they're trying to wordsmith something in real time, and the brain doesn't consider contractions in real time, only in afterthoughts, which is interesting. When you're invisible, if you force a creature to make a saving throw, they roll with disadvantage. This doesn't apply. This doesn't apply to ongoing effects that require. This doesn't apply to ongoing effects that have that make saves during later rounds. This doesn't apply to saving throws to end ongoing effects. Period. That's pretty efficient. When you're invisible, while you're invisible, if you force a creature to make a saving throw, they roll with disadvantage. This doesn't apply to saving throws to end ongoing effects. Yeah, that's great. So that'll apply to spells, weapon masteries, and any maneuvers, and any powers that we're using. Plus other shit you can do. It's just, if you're invisible, they're going to be at a disadvantage. That makes a ton of sense to me. And since when they built this, they didn't have any real other need for saving throws. I wonder, because I'm not super astute with the with these new cunning strikes. Yeah, dexterity saving throw here for obscure. Saving throw here for knockout. Saving throw for daze. Save for days. Half speed, no save. Trip save. Poison save. Yeah, almost every cunning strike requires a saving throw. Yet, when they did this, they didn't take that into account. See, they're not. This is more evidence that. Not to just trash. I trash wizards. I love D&D. I do not love wizards. I certainly don't love Hasbro. They're way too corporate. And here's good evidence of that. They were so intent on making sure they hit their 50th year anniversary in 2024. They didn't let this cook long enough. I think if they let this cook longer, they would have realized that this magical ambush could apply to basically any type of saving throw, including weapon masteries. And that would actually make weapon masteries and the cunning strike features just that much more effective to be able to utilize that invisibility. So, let's see. So that's magical ambush. We proved it. Great. Versatile trickster. You gain the ability to distract targets with your mage hand. When you use the trip option of your cunning strike on a feature, you can also use that option on another creature within 5 feet of the spectral hand. You gain the ability to distract targets with your mage hand. When you use the trip option of your cunning strike on a creature, you can also use that option on another creature within 5 feet of the spectral hand. Okay, we can improve that. And it's not very versatile, because it only applies to trip. And that also means that you can't use this feature if you use some other thing. Now, tripping somebody, knocking them prone, it does give you advantage on the attack, but you only get one attack. So how fucking useful is that? It's actually not very useful. So let's see. Let's not completely shit on it yet, though I am certainly shitting on it. Let's see if we can actually make use of the combat mastery system more with this ability. Let's see. We don't have to have the tripping option. Cunning Strike, you can also use that option on another creature within 5 feet of the spectral hand. When you gain the ability to strike, okay. You can use your mage hand to sow chaos on the battlefield. When you use a weapon mastery against a target, you... Hey, Tex, what's up? They definitely added new ideas that they did not have enough time to... Yeah, all these ideas are super fucking cool. But they did not fully integrate them. They could have had much cleaner class designs that were far more self-referential and self-efficient if they just let it cook longer. So in Magical Ambush, just not usable unless you take an invisibility spell, unless you are invisible. Invisible is a condition. So while you're invisible, technically when you take the hide action, you become invisible. So you can use hide and then ding somebody with a save effect, they'll be at disadvantage. You can hide using cunning actions. You can hide as a bonus action. So as a bonus action, I can hide. I then become invisible. Touches off. Thank you. I can hide. Bonus action, I hide. That makes me invisible. And then I can target somebody with something that requires a saving throw. They will make that save at disadvantage. So it's far more versatile than that. Yes, you could learn invisibility or greater invisibility. We also have the option as a first rank power. It costs 1 mana, and we have a fun trick for this. Hold on, real quick. It's a maneuver, so it's a bonus action to do it. You become invisible until the beginning of your next turn. First rank maneuver. You can use that as an action or a bonus action if you want to. It only costs 1 mana. Here's the kicker. Check this out. So one of the feats that we have in this, it's called Efficient Power. And the way Efficient Power works is, let's go down to our list of feats. Efficient Power. Choose 1 power from the disciplines list that you when you select this feat. When you channel that chosen power, you gain 1 point of temporary mana to do so. You can take this feat multiple times, choosing a different power. So basically, when I use Vanish, if I use Efficient Power, basically I spend 2 powers to learn it once. And if I do, I get a free point of mana to use on that spell. If I, like, say, Giant Growth, it has a 2 mana minimum. If I make Giant Growth efficient, it'll create a point of mana for me, so I only have to spend 1 point out of my pool. But when we're looking at first rank powers, you learn it twice, and basically it's free. So Vanish only requires 1 point to channel, and when you take Efficient Power, you automatically gain 1 point of mana when you channel it. So Vanish at this point only costs a bonus action, and you become invisible until the beginning of your next turn, which is basically the same as the hide action, but you can still run around. So it's really useful, but it's eating up your resources to do it. It's either going to eat a point of mana every time first you have to learn it, and then it's going to either eat up a point of mana every time you do it, or you're going to have to learn it twice so it doesn't cost you any mana, but it reduces the amount of stuff that you can do. And even though you have 23 total powers over the course of 20 levels, Your weapon masteries, your feats, and actual powers, as well as damage types, they all borrow off of that same prep list. So there's legitimately, by level 13, there's like 170 some odd different things that you can decide to pick up to build a unique action loop for your character, to like basically build a deck out of your character to perform specific tasks efficiently with higher levels of impact, so that you can contribute to your team's success in a unique way, or rebuild it every time you gain a level or whenever you take a long rest. You can completely rebuild your character's action loop to work with your team or whatever dungeon or challenge it is that you're taking on right now. So yeah, you can use Vanish to become invisible as a bonus action. There you go. And then you have your action available to attack or cast a spell or whatever, use a combat mastery with, and it'll be, essentially you did that for free. So pretty fun. Pretty fucking fun stuff. Let's get back. But I am messing with Versatile Trickster. So, hey, what's up? I don't play much D&D anymore. Hey, fair enough. Yeah. Yeah, doing the ready action as a bonus action sounds incredible. Yeah, being able to use a ready action as a bonus action, that's really tight. That's really fun. Let's see. So working on Versatile Trickster, I'm trying to expand the use of weapon masteries by taking it out of the hands of just being, instead of just being for tripping, I want to make it for all of them. So let's see. Let's go look at our list of combat masteries and how that might work. Yeah. You can help or use ready as a bonus action. Yeah, that's really fucking sick. Oh, there's also there's also opportunist, which is a sustained aura effect. The way that works is when you turn that on and you sustain it, each round you can sacrifice a number of attacks to gain that many extra reactions. So you could technically take the you get a reaction normally. And then you could pick up another action. You could use your first reaction as a you could use a bonus action to ready something that you would then be able to do as one of your reactions, and you would still have a reaction open to make an opportunity attack or do something else with. And if you're a fighter with 2 attacks, you'd still have an attack available to you with movement. So yeah, a lot of ways to play around with action economy if you're willing to pay for it. A lot of fun ways. And that's only first rank, so you can learn that twice and just do that for free anytime you choose. And like the help action, there's an ability up here that when you use the help action, add a power die to the result of the D20 test that they make. So you could technically help 2 people in the same turn with the quick help option, as well as just normal help with your action and then bonus action. You can help 2 separate people, and then you can throw power dice behind it, so that when you help them, they get, not only do they get advantage, but they also get an extra die roll, D6, D8, D10, depending on what you use. Monks use a D12 at high levels. So, yeah, I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to geek out about the system again. I really have to curb that shit because I have limited time today. What have I been active for? Almost an hour? Yeah. So I'm on my last 20 minutes. So we'll probably get done with the Trickster today, and then that probably means we'll have to come back on Monday. We'll see how long Warlock takes me on tomorrow morning. We might get back into Rogue, but we might have to punt them until Monday next week. So if that's the case, then so be it. Meta powers combat. Okay, so how many of these combat masteries can we get to work with the idea of Mage Hand? Target makes a Constitution saving throw, or cannot make opportunity attacks. So the idea that I'm working with here, the way that masteries work, if you prepare a power, you can use a combat mastery with any weapon, assuming that it qualifies. So cleave weapons are melee only. Grapple is for melee only. Nick is only while dual wielding light melee weapons, because that's how Nick works. But the rest of them can be literally anything. So, oh, fuck, that's so cool. Okay,
I'm thinking about okay. So the way that grapple works is when you hit with a weapon attack and you use the grappling feature, the target's grappled. There you go. You can't use the weapon to make an attack until the grapple ends. Target makes a strength or dexterity save. If they fail, they're grappled. There you go. That's technically how the mastery works. There's a grappling strike up above that automatically grapples you without a saving throw. You have to get your way out of it automatically. But most of these things, masteries are free cantrip effects, so they don't cost you any mana to use them. But I'm thinking about that Ledger Domain ability where if I use a combat mastery with my weapon to grapple somebody, this would allow me to use my mage hand to grapple another target at the same time. With the mage hand grappling them. God, that's fucking cool. Cleave, if your attack hits, you make a second attack against another target within 5 feet and reach. Within 5 feet. Within... Hold on. Another target within reach of your attack. If you hit, roll damage without including ability modifier unless it's negative, which is how it's written. The 5-foot thing is something I changed because we work with reach a lot, either being giant sized or like extended attacks or thrown weapons and stuff like. There's different options, which is why we have to have the melee kicker effects in here. So, but I'm liking this. So I think we can actually make this work. Nick, dual wielding light melee weapons. You can make an offhand attack as part of the attack action. Okay, cool. So this is gonna work. So this is how we'll do it. Give me a second while the muse feeds me some code. All right. You can use your mage hand to sow chaos on the battlefield. Yeah, when you use a weapon mastery against, when you use a weapon mastery, wait for it. When you use your weapon, okay, let me just say what I'm going to say, then we'll figure out the right way to say it. When you use your weapon mastery, you can use your mage hand to affect another target with the same weapon mastery effect. To affect another target within 5 feet of the mage hand. So that's super fucking clumsy. Of the spectral hand. Of the... You can use... your Ledger Domain to sow chaos on the battlefield. When you use a weapon mastery against a when you use a weapon mastery against a target in combat, you can target a separate creature within 5 feet of your mage hand with the same combat mastery effect. Against a target in combat, you can target a separate against a creature in combat. Let's do it like that. When you use a combat mastery in combat, simplify, you can target a separate creature within 5 feet of your mage hand with the same combat mastery effect. For example, if you use the
cleave. If you use the cleave mastery, you can make the second attack. Cleave is the only one it doesn't make sense with, because the cleave is a follow-through weapon attack. You can use your Ledger Demand to sow chaos on the battlefield. When you use a combat mastery, when you use any combat mastery other than cleave, when you use any combat mastery in combat, other than cleave or nick, because those are both really, they require on the weapon specifically, but the rest of them can be anything. Vex, addle, grapple, anything else is fine. You can target a separate creature within 5 feet of your mage hand with the same combat mastery effect. For example, if you use the grapple mastery, you can force the creature you hit to... You can grapple both the creature you hit with your weapon attack and another creature within 5 feet of your mage hand. That's fucking sick. Like, that's a really great reason for a rogue to learn a bunch of weapon masteries. They don't cost any mana to use, so you don't have to sap your sneak attack dice, which are going to do plenty of damage for you with the upgrading. And now you can target 2 creatures at the same time with the condition effect. Wow, that's fucking sick. But you do have to, I think you do have to maintain concentration on that spell, though. Oh my god, it doesn't require concentration anymore. It just works. Within range, it doesn't have duration 1 minute. Yeah. That's sick. Fuck yeah. All right. So magic ambush is great. Versatile trickster is fucking. So you can use magical ambush and versatile trickster at the same time, and both targets would be disadvantaged on their saving throws against any weapon mastery that you used. God damn, that's sick. Spell thief. Last thing. Holy shit. Spell thief. I love this. So last, yeah, I'm gonna have to go after this, but that's okay. Spell thief. Copy, paste, cut, paste. Catch up over here. Much yeah. Let's see. You gain the the ability to magically steal the knowledge of how to cast a spell from another spellcaster. Immediately after a creature casts a spell that targets you or includes you in its area of effect, you can take a reaction to force the creature to make an intelligence saving throw. The DC equals your spell save DC. On a failed save, you negate the spell's effect on you, and you steal the knowledge of the spell if it is at least level 1 and a level you can cast. It does not need to be a wizard spell. I love that. For the next 8 hours, you have the spell prepared. The creature can't cast it until the 8 hours have passed. Once you steal a spell with this feature, you can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest or expend 5 mana to regain this ability. Expend 4 mana. Thank you. Or until you expend
4 mana. You can only have one stolen spell at a time this way. If you steal another spell before the 8 hours end, you replace it with the new stolen spell, but the original spellcaster doesn't recover it until the duration ends. Most of this is going to be okay. When you gain the ability to magically steal the knowledge of how to cast, a spell. Or channel a power from another creature, period. Immediately after a creature targets you, when a creature targets you with a spell, with a cantrip, power, or spell, comma, or if you're in its area of effect, you can take a reaction to force the creature to make an intelligence saving throw. And we automatically use our channeling DC for everything, as we mentioned earlier in the book, so this is redundant. On a failed save, you negate the effect. You negate the effect against you. And you steal knowledge of that power, of that cantrip, power, or spell. If you are able to cast or channel it, period. For the next 8 hours, you have, you can for the next 8 hours, the stolen effect you have the stolen effect prepared, and the target creature can't cast it until the 8 hours have passed. Period. 1, 2, 3. That's the wordiest power, wordiest ability I think I've ever made, man. Once you steal an effect this way, yeah, with this feature, you can't do so again. Okay, yeah, that is right language. You can't use this feature again until you finish a long rest or until you expend 4 mana. You can only have one stolen spell at a time this way. If you steal another spell before the, if you steal another effect, you can only have one stolen effect
at a time this way. If you steal another effect before the 8 hours end, you replace it with a new stolen effect. But the original creature, but the targeted creature doesn't recover it until the duration ends. That's sloppy. It's not great wording, but it's good enough. It works. It gets the point across. That's why I hire an editor, so that I can have somebody who wordsmiths smart good. But that's the Arcane Trickster, and holy shit, this guy's a monster. I fucking love that Spell Thief. The Versatile Trickster I think is great. I love that. I wish Wizards had come up with that. That's such a great idea. Whew, man. And we've looked at the Assassin before, but when we looked at it in 2014, all the features were fine as was. We've looked at Soul Knife 2014 and made changes accordingly as well. And the Thief had no changes we needed to make at the time. But now that we're in 2024, we're going to come back and look at all of these. And it's 3 o'clock here in Seattle, so I just hit my curfew. I gotta bounce out of here for the day. But man, I love this stuff. These guys are going to be so fun. And once we finish converting this for 2024, we'll renew playtesting. We'll be making a mega dungeon to have a slew of characters run around inside of, beat up monsters, collect treasure, mess around with traps and tricks. We'll start at 3rd level and we'll work our way to 10th level. We'll start in November. So November 3, December into 4 and 5, January 4 and 5, February 5 and 6, March maybe 6 or 7, April 8th, May 9th. Is that how long we're going to be testing this for? I suspect we'll have playtesting from level 3 to 10 probably into April. And assuming nothing goes wrong, at that point, we should be able to proceed with editing and layouts. Probably have that stuff locked down. Probably have edits back, I would reckon, by July. Layouts in August, which means the full book will probably publish in about a year from now. That's what I'm anticipating. If I can do it faster than that, fantastic. But once that playtesting starts, that's going to eat my Mondays or my Saturdays for the rest of that block. It worked great in the alpha version. It worked great at level 16 to 20. I don't see any big changes happening. All the heavy mechanics have already been resolved. Now we're just fine-tuning low levels to make sure it doesn't overclock or feel bad, so that we can continue progressing through. So anyone out there that's interested in playtesting this, if you join my Discord server, you are welcome to participate once we fire up again. I will say that if we have more than 4 people that want to show up at a time, I'm going to give the chairs to people that are Patreon members first. And being a member of my Patreon is only $1 a month. It's got a bunch of goodies there for you guys and I'll be providing additional discounts and stuff like that in the future for folks, and additional playtest options moving forward. So, but that's it for now. I'm going to go ahead and cut stream. I'm going to be back tomorrow morning by around 9:30 till noon tomorrow. So that's going to be 18 hours from now. About 18 and a half hours from now, I'll be back on. I might be on a little bit earlier than 9:30. But I should be on by no later than 9:30, between 9 and 9:30. We'll work on Warlocks. If I get tired of that and I still have time, we'll come back. We'll keep working on Rogues. I have the right to change my mind at any time, but I do want to get Warlocks resolved. So I'm going to go ahead and cut stream now. Thanks a lot for folks hanging out. Like and subscribe to get more of this stuff in the future. And I look forward to catching up with everybody tomorrow. So cheers.